If you're a real estate agent using ChatGPT to make content, this is for you. My name is Nicklas Kling. I've built my personal brand over the last 1.5 years to almost 8,000 followers on LinkedIn. And in this video, I will show you exactly why using ChatGPT is killing your personal brand and what to do instead. So there are a few things to why using ChatGPT is killing your personal brand. And first of all, it leads to less trust, because if you are posting things that is not a direct extension of yourself, meaning something that you create, it's your thoughts, and the core essence of the things you post on social media is coming from you, then it leads to less trust, and you also blend in. Because if you are creating ChatGPT, you're using it, and I know a lot of people that are just telling it like, hi, I want to create this type of content, can you make a post for me? And there are so many people that use it that way. And what happens is that you blend in, because if you are doing that and a lot of other people are doing that, you're getting somewhat the same kind of content. So that's why you blend in. And that's something you really don't want to do if you want to have a strong personal brand. And we have the three last ones as well here, which is less authentic, less memorable, and fewer warm leads. And why everything, as you can see here, the problems, they just tie together. Because if you are using ChatGPT, you are making content that looks like everyone else's, over time people is going to start to feel like, well, this is not your thoughts, it's just like, it's overcomplicated, it looks like something you haven't been writing yourself, etc. So that's why you become less authentic, which is a very, very bad thing. And in the end, you get fewer warm leads, because the potential clients of yours, they don't have this super deep connection with you that you really want to have with your clients, because they don't feel that they're connecting with you, the real version of yourself. So that's a little bit about the main problems. And the thing I want to jump into right now is that we really gotta start to understand a big mindset shift, which is, first of all, like, why using ChatGPT is killing your personal brand, because it's not you. And your brand are you. It's a direct extension of yourself. So the better your personal brand becomes, that happens as a consequence of you being, digging into, being more of yourself. So that's why you really gotta understand that, your edge is really your personality. Because the absolute best thing is that if you really are doubling down on who you are, you're showcasing the person you are, you're really trying to portray like the most authentic version of yourself online, well, what is going to happen is that no one is going to be able to copy you. AI is not going to be able to make content that is like the ones you make, because it's you. And that is very important to remember. So that's why we're going to jump into the solution here, which is really, all about what we're going to talk about here. To make it crystal clear, is that we're going to make a blueprint, a crystal clear plan moving forward that you could be using to make sure that your personal brands are, as authentic as possible. And if you operate in this kind of way, you're going to stand out. You're not going to blend in, because your personal brand is actually you. It's not an AI robot. It's not ChatGPT. You're spitting out things. I know there are a lot of people that says like to ChatGPT like, hi, I want to build my personal brand. Can you give me like a 6 months worth of things to post? And that is absolute garbage, if you ask me. So the solution here is to really start with your own thoughts first. And this is very important, because the worst thing you could be doing is to ask ChatGPT for topics to write about. And then when you have done that, you make sure that ChatGPT is making content for you as well. So for example, I think like there's 80% or 90% of people on LinkedIn use ChatGPT to make content for them. And that could be okay if you start with this type of solution. And I want to jump in here as well to say that we're not going to throw away ChatGPT, so you can sit still in the boat, where you're going to use it is just in the best way possible. So as you can see here, after we have done the first step, the second step is really like you're gonna let ChatGPT refine your thoughts, not create. So this is a huge difference, because if you're really using ChatGPT to refine things, it's very, very good. So that's why you really gotta start with your own thoughts, your own ideas. Maybe sometimes make a video like this where it's not heavily scripted, and then you let ChatGPT refine it. So, and after a while, it will start to learn who you are, the way you think, the thoughts you have, and it's just become better and better to help you, not to make things for you, to help you. So this is my exact blueprint moving forward, and this is the exact way I use myself. So first of all, I write down things on my phone. So this is what I start with. So for every single YouTube video I make, for every single LinkedIn post I make, I have a thought in mind. So, and the easiest way you can go about this is that I have a notes, I have the notes app on iPhone, and as soon as I get an idea, boom, I take my phone up and I put it in there. So you have, after a while, you have kind of like a big bank with posts that could be working very well. And then you're never running out of ideas. And number two, of course, if you want to have a personal brand, if you want to make things that is good, you got to pick the best things, right? So this is no rocket science. When you have this list, if you want to make a Instagram reel, you want to make some kind of short form content, long form content. And what I mean by this is that short form content is, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And long form content is, podcast, YouTube, etc. So if you want to make some kind of content, you gotta pick the best ones from the list you have. So the way I go about this is that I look through the ideas I have. I sit down at least once a week to make all the ideas and post for the next coming week, which means that I spend a few hours on making sure what things I should post on LinkedIn, what thing I should be posting, and what video I should create for YouTube as well. So it's important, so you just don't throw out things in the world that is crap, because if you do that, your personal brand is not going to grow. And third off, we have when it's time to making posts. So you have a bank with ideas, you pick the best ones, and then you spend 10 to 30 minutes making a post myself. So the easiest way to explain this for myself is that where we have LinkedIn, so if I want to make a post, I usually sit down for at minimum 10 minutes, try to write the post out myself. So I have the idea, I start with the hook, and then I write as good post as I can. So at bare minimum, so I have kind of like the core essence of what I want to create, and then I put it in ChatGPT and help it to refine the post. So this is very important, because if you skip this step, all the things you post is not going to come from you. And what I love about this way of making content is because the core essence of your brand and every single thing you post, it comes somehow from your core identity and from your way of thinking, which is very important, because if you work in this way, like your personal brand is going to have this red line, and everything is going to make sense somehow. And then fourth, as I said, you put it into ChatGPT to make it refine, and you can go back and forth. Really, don't be unnecessarily fast in these moments, because the more time and energy and effort you put into these steps, the better the post is going to be in the end. So when you have put it in, it refines. For me, especially being speaking Swedish as my native language, of course I feel very confident to speak English as well. But I think it's very simple for me to make sure at least it's at least grammatically correct. And then number 5, what I do is that one last time I refine the post myself, and then I post it, as you can see here. Because what I like with this is that you have your idea, you make the rough post in the beginning, you put it into ChatGPT, it refines everything, and then you take it back and try to polish it yourself. And then one last time you put it into ChatGPT to make sure that, you know, every spelling and stuff like that is correct, and then I post it. So this is really the way I go about this, and I think it's very important, and I really wanted to share with you in the end as well one quote that's truly have changed the way I look at personal branding and how freaking important it is. And this is something from a very, very, very successful person that is called Naval Ravikant. And he said that when you market something that is a direct extension of yourself, no one can compete with you. You become one of one. And what this really means is that the more you lean into who you are and the more you showcase your most true version of yourself on social media, it's going to be impossible for other people to compete with you. And especially being a real estate agent, it's so personal, and that's why it's so important, and that's why I'm going all in to help you guys with building your personal brands, because being a real estate agent is such a personal thing, and it's such an important job we have, and we're in charge of selling and helping people buy their most precious asset, and that's very personal. So if you take home 4 agents, most likely they're going to pick the agent that they vibe with and the best one. So that's why it's very important for you to showcase who you are, and the more of you that you become, the more people you're going to attract that like you as well. So that's the main point with your personal brand, that you want to attract more people into your life, potential clients that dig your vibe, and you want to make sure that those who doesn't, like, they're not going to be contacting you, or at least in a way where you're going to attract the right people in your life, which means that the people you're going to work with is going to be so much better. So I think this is very important, and this is the exact blueprint I'm using myself moving forward. So yeah, I hope you found this valuable. And now don't forget to watch this video where you learn the only 4 ways that you as a real estate agent can get more leads in your life. So if you haven't watched this video, this is a must.